All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention. And welcome back to another episode of Toxic Masculinity. I am here with my co-host, the man of men, the guy that scares everyone else, the guy with the most unruly mustache, Don the Predator Frye, and yours truly here, Dan to be Severn. And we have a couple. We're here to entertain, offend, defend anybody and everyone. These are merely our opinions. So if we offend some people, well, put your man panties on, because the title said it all in Toxic Masculinity. And our two special guests this evening, we have Mr. Todd Standing and Mr. Kevin Gilligan. And we're going to be talking about the topic of Sasquatch. You heard it right there, folks. Sasquatch.
Saskatchewan?
Well, I think that's part of where, I think, Todd, is that the area that you go up into Canada?
Which area did he say?
Saskatchewan.
Oh, no.
No?
Okay.
I just saw
it as an opportunity to talk about, I know it's up in the Canadian aspect for where you end up going there, but Mr. Todd said, well, start to clue us in a little bit on this. When did you start? How long ago did you start this this search for? Or again, I don't know, was a search for you? What made you want to go into this field of Sasquatch and trying to find Sasquatch and all the information that you have about him?
Quinn.
It's pretty simple. I was studying biology at the University of Alberta, and I was certain that I could prove there was no ecological niche for a primate species like this to survive in. So I went out to prove they didn't exist. And I started working. I started understanding the biology and understanding there's plenty of space for thousands of primates like this, or other hominids more specifically, to survive in. And then I started working with the greatest trackers, not arguably, that have ever lived, the Cree Native, or the Native Americans and the First Nations people here in Canada, we call them. They're the greatest wilderness hunters and trackers that have ever lived. And they all know this species is real. And it was a matter of them earning my respect and vice versa, that all these people convinced me. And then through my own evidence and filming them, I became aware that this hominid, intelligent, incredible, amazing species exists. And what's really inspired me and pushed me on, initially I thought this was going to be easy. I thought there were, a bunch of apes running around in the wilderness. And what I've come to discover is it's no wonder we haven't made this discovery, because they are literally living at a higher level of connectivity to nature and to earth. We're starting to understand things now about psychic awareness, telepathy, empathic awareness, communication between individuals. And this species of hominid have mastered this a long time ago. So, an example that we were kind of talking about earlier, if a hunter went out to hunt them, they would immediately understand your intent. And I'm at the point now where I can be very public about this and explain to people that you could walk up on a domesticated, stupid cow that knows nothing about wilderness. If you walk up on a cow gingerly, they won't mind. If you get down on the ground and crawl towards that cow and start stalking or being predatorial towards it, it'll react. And that's a cow. When you talk about a highly evolved, intelligent species that lives based on the law of survival of the fittest, and that's something you guys know about because you're both heavyweight champions, what it took to be the fittest, survival of the fittest. And these are the elite best wilderness survival experts that have ever lived. They are far better trackers than any man has ever been. And when you come into their backyard, they've been taught and learned, and it's their ring. The whole area is their ring. Their survival is based on their knowledge of that place, and you're dealing with beings that are at a level of incredible connectivity to the earth and to nature, which is why I'm so passionate about this discovery, because I know that this discovery can help mankind move back to nature, connect with the earth, get away from domestication, get back into our power, into our connectivity to the earth. And that's why this discovery is so important. And I do shows like this.
So they got the complete and ultimate situational awareness going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, even Don, as an American, I don't think you could even understand what freedom really is like they do. They have no possessions. Nobody owns them. They don't pay taxes. They don't give. And this.
Don't say that, man. The government will be hunting them down. in a week.
Right. And I'm
No,
gonna
we'll
say
find
that,
them.
Yep.
right? Because this is toxic masculinity. They don't give a fuck about the parameters and bullshit that governments and even other people put on us. And if they don't like something, if something pisses them off, then survival of the fittest, the toughest, baddest ass son of a bitch makes the decision, and that's powerful in nature. That's why bears and mountain lions and wolves are so tough. They survive out in these harsh environments, and people don't give them credit. Even as a hunter, what do you hunt? Deer, elk?
Right. Oh, you get a you can get a mountain lion tag, and a bear tag, but they're hard to come by. You can carry that tag around in your wallet for 2 years, 3 years, then give up on it.
Yeah, and you're dealing with literally the Sasquatch are a species that are so highly evolved and so up that I make no qualms about it. The species is real, and just like you guys do, just like you guys said when you were fighters, I'm the best in the world. You want me to prove it? Come and step in the ring with me, bitch. And that's what I tell people. Don't take my word for it. Come out with me, and I will show you a Sasquatch. I did it in my movie. I did it with PhDs. I did it with Survivor Man, and I do it every year. I take people out and I show them a Sasquatch. That's my ring. That's where I am the ultimate heavyweight champion of the world when it comes to Sasquatch, because if I prove they're real, then I win. And if somebody else proves they're real, you just proved me right. So I can't be defeated. And it's this discovery is coming. It's gonna happen. Humanity is ready for it. We need it. Holy shit, do we need this discovery? Like, domestication syndrome is a sickness, and the sheep are starting to run the show, and I'm fucking terrified about it. Scaring me.
It's sad. It's sad, yeah.
You're noble unless you're a victim.
Don, have you seen some of the footage that Todd has?
No, sir.
No. We got to get you. We got to get you hooked up with Discovering Bigfoot, the documentary.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Todd, describe. So, we're talking about how big are this species, Todd? What are we talking about? Because how stealth they are, how they're able to, we can't find them.
Yeah. Well, they have no trouble evading humanity. People are, and even when they show themselves, I have footage of Sasquatch. The Sasquatch have shown themselves to, for sure, at least tens of thousands of people. And when we come out, we say we saw a Sasquatch. Nobody believes us. Part of the thing that makes them afraid of us is they do show themselves to people, and people go out and tell other people, and nobody believes us because we're so goddamn deceitful and deceptive. And they don't have that ability to be deceptive like that, because they're in total communication with one another at all times. They can actually they mind speak is what it's called. And if people aren't aware of the reality of mind speak, of telepathy, you're living in the dark ages. Princeton's been doing this. All the major universities in the world are now acknowledging the absolute fact that you can mind speak with animals, you can mind speak with people. I can sit down with anybody in 5 minutes, prove to them that they're empathic. The biggest dumbass domesticated person in the world, I'll show him 5 different ways that he's been empathic.
Tony, he's talking about you. You're up, Tony. You're up.
But so the becoming free and honest and open is what this species represents when we start to acknowledge them and when we start to cooperate with them, when they start coming out and they are trying to do that. They're trying to communicate with me right now. That's why I'm here. I wouldn't be here if they didn't walk out and communicate and show themselves. Every year I take people out, and the Sasquatch choose to show themselves, these people that come out with me. And they're doing that because they see the sickness, they feel what's going on in the world, and they can help. And that's why I train people. That's why I take people out. And this knowledge needs to get out there. I wake up every day working for this discovery because I know it's gonna change the world. This is causing a paradigm shift back to everything that made us in the first place. Fuck social media, fuck all this stuff where children are, cutting themselves and damaging themselves and messing up their heads. We got to get back to nature. Nick Diaz is the perfect example. Man, I'd love to meet that kid because he needs to get back to the wilderness. That's his problem. Is he's in this society. He's like a wild animal. People don't know this. You can't domesticate zebras. 90% of species cannot be domesticated, and that's what people like Nick Diaz and a lot of other fighters. They're just like wild, and you try to put drugs and shit in them, and that's horseshit. You're fighting their natural self, their natural way to be, And that's how they need to get out to nature and reconnect. And I can show people that. Don't take that Ritalin and those drugs that the doctors are prescribing you. Medicine doesn't work unless you're sick. Medicine, they're happy. The COVID's a miracle. You know how much money these guys have made with COVID? Trillions of dollars. They're rich, you know? Right. So it's pharmacies and Medicare doesn't make a goddamn dime when you're healthy and you feel good. And that comes through mental, spiritual, and physical health, right? And that's what these beings do. They're free to do that. And I hope in my lifetime I can learn to be a quarter as free and as open as they are, and to teach that to humanity. That, can you imagine if we all just didn't fucking lie? If we just told the truth, you know? It's even funny to think that.
I can say that's unheard of in government alone there, Todd.
Well, that's the premise of our show. That's the premise of our show, masculinity, you know? And that's why people hate it, because they can't handle the truth, you know?
Right. Yeah, we have a tendency of rubbing their faces into it. But Todd, but when you were going to the University of Alberta in the beginning, what were you pursuing, like academically? Was it something that had to do with psychology, or doing something with wildlife?
Yeah, I started in engineering, and when I realized engineering was staring at a computer screen all day writing programs, I gravitated away from that, and I went into the biology. And I did study psychology.
So you could define a woman?
Did I find a woman in university?
No, you could define one. You could define a woman.
That's the newest joke there in society, that they're looking for definitions. You know, they're asking all these intelligent people, that are around associated with the White House, that, you know, can you define what a woman is? And they're like, oh, I'm not a biologist. I'm thinking it was like the dumbest people, and these are people that are leading our country. I'm thinking, oh my God.
Well, I'd like to define that. I think a woman is someone who embraces their beautiful feminine side, as well as embraces a man's masculinity and his strength. I think that's the perfect kind of union. And maybe I'm old fashioned to think that, but you know, I have an amazing girlfriend, and I've had amazing relationships. And when a woman is feminine and beautiful and in her feminine power, and even allows me to be not toxic, but just masculine, you know, let me be the protector. Let me be like we were designed that way. I'm bigger and stronger than a woman because I'm a hunter, I'm a gatherer, I'm a protector. And it's in my nature to be strong like that. And a woman that allows me to embrace that is powerful, I think. And that's a great relationship, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's gonna let you be a man without you know, cowering down to you, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Stand up to me. You know, call my bullshit. Like, this is a relationship. Let's grow together. But also, you know, I can't. The worst thing my girlfriend could ever do to me is if I hurt her feelings and she cries. I feel like the biggest asshole in the world. If she lifts me off and calls me names, it doesn't hurt as much as my masculinity harming that beautiful femininity, because that's really, I feel it's my job as a protector, as the male, to protect my children, to protect my mate to a certain extent. And I don't, if I truly give them harm, that damages my masculinity, doesn't it?
Right. Sure it does. So,
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's.
And I feel the Sasquatch are teaching me that. I mean, they're literally the reason I'm getting such tremendous success and so many other people aren't, is they're literally my teachers. I'm their student. All I do, that old expression, when the student is ready, the master will appear. It also goes to another level where when the student is ready for the knowledge, the master will teach it, right? You don't, even in fighting, it translates. You don't teach somebody an arm bar when they're not ready, when they're going to bust some. I taught somebody, had this happen. I was a doorman. I grew up with the UFC, by the way. I was studying jiu-jitsu, and I saw the very first UFC and the second one where you were in, Dan. But I remember teaching a doorman that I was working with a chokehold. I never put him in a chokehold. So one day, there's a fight. He grabs this kid, puts him in a chokehold, lifts him up. The kid goes unconscious. The kid's dangling there. I run towards him. I yell, drop him. So he lets the kid go, unconscious.
Head bounces off
the ground, right? Broke his nose. And there the student wasn't ready, and the master was teaching it. And you know what I mean? So you learn those lessons. And that's what I've learned to be with Sasquatch, is be a good student. Go out there and look for knowledge and understanding. And when you're ready, they'll teach it to you, because as much as you guys, I bet you guys love to teach fighting. You love to talk about fighting. It's your passion. and it's something that you want to promote. You guys want to promote the UFC. You want the UFC to do well in healthy ways, which I understand are tremendous. It's not quite on that right now.
Well, I'm gonna say that could be a whole different discussion right now, because there's a lot of qualms of the UFC really not taking care of their athletes, especially in, I'll say that really has come up more and more in the more recent years. At the time, like when Don and I did it, it was just an opportunity. This is what they were paying at the time. We didn't bitch or complain. We just went out there and just did our thing. And but now when they're starting to look at what these athletes are being paid compared to other combat sports like boxer, kickboxing, but then you look at even other professional athletes like American football, soccer players, and things of that nature. You know, the mathematical equations are not even close. So I can understand where a lot of athletes are, you know, they've got their qualms right there. But I always tell people, no one put a gun to my head to say said to me that I have to go in there or else. I mean, it was kind of like going, I went in there free will. And I think we had part of that conversation at a different time where, I mean, Todd, I didn't tell a single family member what I was doing at the time because I didn't want them to be nervous about that. And you know, just and how the story goes is two of my uncles happened to stumble on that UFC event, and they make a phone call over to my parents' house. And my father, who never answers the phone, happens to answer it that night. And my uncle's like, "Go, well, do you know where your son's at?" And first off, I got 4 other brothers, so I had to go through the list there a little bit. And like, no, they're like, "No, Danny." And my dad's like, "What, did he down in cold water?" Blah blah blah. And my uncle's like, "No, he's about to climb in this cage. He's about to do this." And my uncle and my dad's like, "What the hell?" You know, he can't believe this. But after each match, you know, my uncle's called back. Well, you know, he won. He's okay. Oh, he lost. He's okay. Well, Todd, here I am at 37 years of age. I get back home, and I have a message to call your father. Now, that's not normally usually a very good message to say, call your father. And here I am at 37 years of age, basically being bitched at by my father for making him nervous. So it just goes to show you, it's a term of endearment, because it doesn't matter how big and bad you think you are, you're either mama's little boy or daddy's little boy at that point in time.
And I was 30 years old. Well, Dan got me a couple when I was 28, 29, but I got into the UFC. Dan got me in the UFC when I was 30. I had to go over with Becky Levi and ask my parents' permission to fight.
I never heard this one before, Don. This is great.
Yeah. So we pitched the story, you know, pitched it. And my dad looks at my mom and says, "We might as well let him. The boy's going to do what he wants to do anyways, you know."
That's great.
I feel like it's not a feeling. Obviously, you guys buried a mythos when it comes to fighting about how grapplers and how real fighting is. Because you know, I grew up knowing that, you know, all the stuff we were seeing was just absolute bullshit. You know, it's more of a dance than a real fight. I remember my Shidoshi, who taught me. We had 2 Golden Glove boxers were fighting. He goes, "Watch, I bet you within 30 seconds they'll be rolling around the ground. They won't know what the hell to do." And he was right. These 2 guys latched onto each other, no referee to pull them apart, and they're looking like Nancy's trying to punch each other. And then he said, "I could teach you how to fight on the ground like that. I could teach you how to fight really with that. That would be your home, where you'd be comfortable." And so I'm grateful that you guys went out there and proved the reality of what's going on with fighting.
Well, the competition. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, which is you gonna give me seniority because of gray hair?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what you said there on that, Todd. I mean, it just. See, I lost my train of thought. What's up with that right now? That little interruption, just lost my train of thought.
I'll take advantage of it. Well, Dan and I had the competitive factor. You know, I mean, you hear these people say, "Oh, I should have went to the UFC, or I could have done this, I could have done that." If you were really the competitor that you claim to be, you'd have done it.
Right.
You know.
I say that so much.
You're absolutely correct.
Step in the ring, bitch. Step in the ring. Okay. Put up or shut up. Yeah. Right. I live by that.
Yeah. What you're talking about before about the combat aspect. I always tell people I was basically a one-trick pony, knowing that I was just a grappler when I walked out there. I never, I was never going to win a match with my fisticuffs, but always, when you watch combat sports like boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate, kung fu, that gentleman or that woman out there in that striped shirt gets more of a workout than what the athletes do because they spend more time separating the two athletes. There's like, no, fellas, no, ladies. There's none of this huggy, squeezy type action taking place. Got to back up. We got to punch, kick, knee, elbow. But I always tell people that I was good at not getting hit. To get to that clinch, to get to that takedown, or to get to that jam them up against that cage wall. And as a grappler, my skill set's just commencing. I'm in my home turf right now because the moment that they're clinched, taken down, or jammed up against that cage wall, you neutralize 90+% of their arsenal. Any striker worth their weight has got to have space to create that motion, to throw those punches and things of that nature. I mean, it's
agility. They need agility, and movement.
Except for Don,
Well, that was good. That close quarter combatants.
that dirty boxing.
That phrase always stupefies me. Dirty boxing. All boxing's dirty. God,
exactly.
Dirty boxing. Come on, it's all dirty. God damn, that phrase makes no sense to me at all.
No, a fight I want to see is, I know that the Sasquatch, they have a dominant male, and he does have to fight off his competition. I was around for such an event where I was up on the mountains and I heard these two Sasquatch fighting, and what I saw on the trackway after was grappling. I saw them pushing against each other, shoving against each other, trying to move each other. Maybe even in the trackway that I saw, it was a lot kind of sumo like. But I'd love to see that, because these guys, these guys are over 9 feet tall. They weigh around 900 pounds. They're literally minimum twice as strong as a gorilla. And to see an altercation like that happen between these two behemoths, even what was awesome too was I saw, so the Sasquatch, I call him Seeger now, that runs my troop. He's about 9'3", and he's about 920 pounds. He fought a Sasquatch that was easily 9'10", outweighed him by 100 pounds. And how did he win? I guarantee you, it was technique. It was timing, right? It was a wiser, older individual who just knew how to move, and maybe even had a bigger heart. More is at stake for him, to protecting and guarding his family. Yeah. And this other guy walking around with a heart on. But there's so many layers of what I have studied and watched in fighting in the UFC that I apply to my life. This is no coincidence I'm here. I'm a huge fan of the UFC. I've loved it my whole life. I've always been so grateful for it. I'm the guy that my buddies and I, like, we're just joking. I like to fight. Like, I'll have a buddy of mine. He's some kind of Jukondo, or my new friend's a ninjutsu guy. I took him on an expedition. I was like, let's fight. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I really want to see what you're made of, because we're friends, and let's test each other's mettle. Why can't we athletes go have a race? You're doing 100 yards, I'll beat you. Let's have an altercation, and let's just be friends after and see who wins. And I've always been good with that. It's fun with me. I love that. Don't you get to know somebody when you really, don't you get to know them in a special kind of spiritual, masculine way? I'd like to ask you guys that. Don't you change when you win a war like that?
My first quick question to Todd, I'll let Don answer that. Is it hard for you to keep friends?
Yeah.
with this collision type of. Well, now that we're buddies, let's fight. Yeah, I was like going, well, I've known Kevin for probably 20-some years. I don't think that's crossed my mind. To say, hey, let's go fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie, but I know you guys are. I would love to wrestle and learn techniques from you guys. There's always a level, right? And there's I have really good friends. Like, every time, 4 times I have friends that are 4 of my friends right now, and we've all fought. And it doesn't have to be even why fight angry? Right. What's the point? It's not. It's you train for fighting. Why can't we go have fun? I could take a shot. I had a big black eye shiner from an elbow I caught. I was like, man, hey, great shot. I was like holding that around, like I was like proud. I took pictures of it. I taught my kid a spinning back fist, and he caught me And he was like 3 years old, and he hit me with a spinning back fist as I was doing the dishes. I'm like, man, that was I have pictures. That's a badge of honor. So it's in my blood.
Your son was 3. You said your son was 3 at this time?
He was 3, and he hit me with I was down doing the dishes, and he just thought he hit me with a spinning back fist while I was just teaching him, and he clocked me. Like, boom! I was like, whoa!
How low is your sink? How low is that sink? Yeah. How low is your sink that you're down there, your 3-year-old kid?
I was unloading the dishwasher. I bent right down, right? And he's like, hey, he lined me up. He's like, you're right there. Boom! It was proper. I was like, damn, boy.
Proper.
But
must have been watching clips of John Jones that spinning back elbow or spinning back fist. Yeah.
Yeah. But isn't that the warrior spirit? Like, how do you turn that off when you feel it, when it's in your blood? To be like a warrior has that battling. You guys must feel that. Like, you guys walked into the ring, like the ultimate warriors in the ultimate setting. I can't even imagine how that would feel.
Yeah, but now, yeah.
Yeah, Don, go ahead. I mean, it expressed how you either psych yourself up or how you transitioned from meek, mild mannered Don Frye to the Predator.
Hey, Don Frye is not transitioning, okay, buddy? There's no
I forgot. You still identified as a male this morning.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, my God.
It's just, nowadays it's hard because somebody talks shit, gets you to go after them, and then they sue you. You know, you're naked and shitting on the street. You know, criminy.
I find barking little dogs. I have nothing to prove with that. That doesn't.
Right.
I don't know. I know they can get under your skin if it gets to family and stuff, but those barking little dogs, because that's not the point. When I see greatness in a warrior, and I can just, even I played football too, and I got to experience that a lot. When I got on the field, it was like going to war.
Yeah.
And after, it was all respect, because even my competitors brought me up to another level, and I just admired that. So even I could go to war with all these people now, right? Because you're in America, you're battling with Americans. At one point, you have to stand up for America. And you guys go together hand in hand, and now you've iron sharpens iron, right?
Right.
You guys have tested each other's metal.
Absolutely.
And now you know, because even with my friends that I talk about, I know those boys. I've seen them out in the wilderness. I trust them because I've fought them and I've tested their metal, and they're tough sons of bitches. Those guys, they have that heart where they would like die to win, you know, and that's helped me build a powerful relationship with people, and I'm sure you guys must have experienced that.
Oh yeah, but we do it to people at equal standings. You know, I mean, for us to, you don't know how many times some fucking idiot come up and says, "Hit me! I want to see what it feels like to get hit by Don Frye." No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's the price of fame, right? I get idiots to say stupid shit like that too, but people like that just can never understand, and there's no integrity in that. It's weak. It stinks, you know. And I heard you got removed from a UFC recently because someone tried to pick a fight with you. Oh man, crazy.
Say Mike Tyson probably had the most recent.
Yeah, that was beautiful
occurrence on an airplane. Yeah, did not end all that well for the gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was quite a video. Yeah.
And everybody had their cell phones out, and I forget, everything basically fell back upon the barking dog, as you guys were talking about, the barking dog, the Chihuahua that was instigating everything. So he deserved it, and life goes on.
Well, talking about UFC 274, who you guys liking? Who, between some of the headline fights, it's a packed card, man. They got so many good fights on this card Saturday night.
Yeah, with Gagey. Gagey's the main event, right?
Yeah, Gagey Oliveira. Yeah.
I like them both, but I gotta go for Gagey. He's an Arizona boy,
I just watched a couple of the embedded videos, and Gagey seems real relaxed, and he seems real confident, and that's a scary Justin Gagey. That's a scary Justin Gagey. So that I'm sure that's going to be a great fight.
What an excellent example of with Justin Gaethje is coach and student. The way Trevor has just put him, just molded him so perfectly. Again, that comes back to the Sasquatch, because I feel like the better student I am, the better they mold me, the faster I can help this discovery move forward. And but what, you know, honestly, with the UFCs, I don't even, I just I want to see a good fight, like with Rose. You know, I think Rose is gonna what's her opponent's name? That
I know what you're talking about.
Carla Esparza.
Carla, yeah, I think she's gonna smoke Carla, but I don't want that though. I want a good fight. I'd like to see people go out on their shield. You know, I'd like to see people get a good chance to see how tough they are and show their heart. I always want a great fight first and foremost.
Well, nobody's throwing 80-pound logs at us, so you know.
Yeah.
So we're safe in that. So was that the old Sasquatch that tossed the 80-pound log at you, or which one was it?
That was, they were teaching me a lesson. Again, that was me. I was being a bit of an ass. What was happening there is I was approaching a Sasquatch, like I was getting footage of, and there was a Sasquatch off to the right of me telling me to stop, like growling at me. You can kind of hear it. He's growling at me. And I kept moving forward, and I wasn't supposed to. In those moments, though, I really have a program, because I do feel stress and I do get pressure. And so I put a program on, and my program is just keep moving forward and keep filming. And that was the wrong program, because and I'll tell you, that log that got gently lobbed at me, I don't know how they threw it so gently at me. That log was 80 pounds, and the Sasquatch must have been 10, 15 yards away. I don't know how he threw it so gently, or maybe I was just in so much of adrenaline mode that it hit me and I didn't feel the impact as much, because it, you know, it hurt me. Like my shoulder, even to this day, it hurts. But if he wanted to, I mean, he could have smashed me with that log.
Maybe it was a Shaq free throw, and he was aiming 3 feet away from you, and being a Shaq free throw, it hit you.
It was. I'll tell you, it's gentle, and if they wanted me gone that day, I wouldn't be here. So even the fact that my teachers, I was going to say my coaches, but my teachers, which is what the Sasquatch are to me, really are patient with me, and man, if a Sasquatch ever wanted me or anybody else gone, we would disappear and nobody would ever find us again. There'd be no hope.
How many excursions a year do you typically do, Todd?
Well, I start them in May. So I'm starting my first expedition next week. And I go 1 week in, 1 week out till the end of October when it snows. So usually right around Halloween, I'm done. So I spend half. And then when the snow falls, I don't track them or follow them anymore. Winter is such a hard time to survive. I don't want to be pushing them around. Even hunters, they don't hunt in the winter, because animals, if you chase an animal once, you're decreasing the likelihood of its survival dramatically. And ultimately, if you really are a hunter, you should love the species, or you shouldn't be out there, and you don't want to cause harm unnecessarily. So even a hunter should want a good hunt, a good fight, have something amazing happen.
Well, otherwise you're just running over with your car. Now, let me ask something strange here. Do they have 2 rows of teeth and 6 fingers and 6 toes? Like the red-headed giants, or is that a different species completely? Then you have your red-headed giants.
I have no evidence of such a species whatsoever. Sasquatch.
Oh, they found it. They found it. Yeah,
they did?
Yeah, the giants of they find the skeletons, the giants in North America, and then all over the world they find skeletons of giants, and some of the red-haired, and they're big giant gingers, but they have 2 rows of teeth, 6 fingers, 6 toes on each foot and hand.
No, nothing like that. Well, I'm gonna offend you and tell you a truth that's quite bothersome, but it's an absolute fact. They have DNA from this species, and they're literally able to breed with human beings and produce viable offspring. So by definition, they're literally the same species as us, right. Which is something I don't like talking about, but it's like I say, it's in the DNA. It's a fact. They've bred 19 times and produced viable offspring that have bred back into the population. So they have successfully bred with humans. And, donkeys and horses are different species, because if they breed, they create mules, but mules can't be their own species. They can't breed. So the definition of species is literally, they've adhered to that, where as much as how crazy that sounds to me, and I'm very uncomfortable talking about it, it's a fact. I can't argue with the DNA. I can't argue with the science. It's been proven, and it's just it's a real fact. So even to know that there is no pure Sasquatch out there potentially anymore, they've all been bred with human beings, which are weaker. I mean, we're smaller, weaker. Even, to be honest, you know what, guys? We're dumber. We're not as smart as this species. I've seen it so many times. I've been out with the best in the world, the best Navy SEALs and U.S. Rangers and military guys, and we just get owned. Like the minute we think we're a step ahead, it's just because we're so far behind. They're literally 3 steps ahead of us. That to get owned like that as a human being, as an intelligent human being that has a plan and adheres to that plan, and they're just dominating you and owning the situation.
Well, like you said, we're in their neighborhood, you know. I mean, come on.
Well, it's even more than that, because what we've learned from even chimpanzees is if you put a picture of 19 things up and you drop it down, a chimpanzee is actually better than twice as intelligent as any human being in the world at memorizing things in the moment. So that's called intelligence in the moment. So when I'm in the moment with a Sasquatch, they're able to outthink me out of that. The only chance I have is the planning and organization of that moment. But they see that coming. You can't, why would I want to get the upper hand on these individuals when they're so amazing? I even feel like what I've gotten over too is I don't have anything to give them.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.